Destiny.
Said, I would love to welcome our YouTube audience to the arena, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to NODWIN Valorant Challenger South Asia. You guys are watching Velocity versus Revenant Esports. Both these teams are about to go head to head against each other. And guess what? You've seen Velocity experiment before, but this is an experiment unlike any other. This is a bit too wild, friends.
हेलो 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 चेक हेलो चेक अभी भी जैसे मेरे को अपनी आवाज़ आ रही है पीछे से हल्का हल्का हेलो 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 हाँ अब नहीं आ रही हेलो हेलो नहीं 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 अभी नहीं आ रही नहीं नहीं चेक 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 all the players are completely ready. Team Revenant grouped up. They will be looking forward towards their second victory, and I mean if they are हाँ हाँ अच्छा चलो अभी तो ठीक है ना मतलब अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है
Massive surprise if somehow that map sneaks through it would be a very difficult game for Velocity, and it already is without that IGL.
Hey, that's correct. And let's have a look. Let's have a look at the map select. Oh, I'm sorry, the agent selection over here. Like Scally previously picked, I think. Oh, never mind. We'll jump right back into action. But yeah, I mean, we'll first have to look at the maps that will be shown over here. So, Revenant, what do you think, Crips? Do we have a bind, or does Team Velocity just insta ban it out?
I don't know, bro. I mean, there's so many choices to pick and choose from. If they try to go for an insta bind ban, sorry, but then they might be opening themselves up to a Pearl or maybe a Lotus pick. Okay, they ban Fracture. That's also good enough. Revenant are a very chaotic team, and they don't want to give a chaotic team Fracture by default, which could be their strong map. Although Revenant haven't really showcased any affinities towards Fracture, so I guess a bind ban could have been in the works. They probably could have gone for it, but now that it's in the pool, do Revenant pick it up? Of course they do.
They're super comfortable. Even the first map that they have, Velocity, the map of Split, that is also a very interesting pick, because if you remember against Team Militant, they got a very close game. And yes, there'll be data of just one game on how Revenant likes to play it out and how do they like to set up their default defenses, because Split being a defense-oriented map, you'd like to have as many rounds on attack as possible. There will be little data available. But was it enough for Velocity to go and choose that map? And then the decider is Haven too. Hey, according to me, this map veto has gone all the way to Revenant. They really have an advantage on the maps that they're playing.
I mean, to some extent, I can probably argue that Velocity will be able to hold their ground on Haven. They've done so in the past. Obviously not against Orangutan. They got destroyed 32, but I feel like if Haven was earlier on in the map veto, if that was the first pick and Split being the last one, I think it probably could have helped out Velocity a bit more. It is true that they were able to defeat Militant on Split, but then again, you have to realize Militant were going through some wild experiments at that time. You know, they were picking Harbor and everything on Split, which isn't something you see a lot of teams do. So, yeah, the things could have been a little dicey for Militant, and Velocity still faced some trouble. They still won 13-10, which isn't that convincing of a scoreline. And especially against a team like Revenant, who are known for their blitzkrieg attacks and their really fast pace, I think Revenant might just have the perfect setup for this match win. Bind already is in their favor. We've seen how amazing they are at it. And even though they lost against Orangutan, I don't think Velocity will have that same caliber of comeback against them.
Oh, the lineups, here we go. Right to ace with a breach. We have a breach of Sky combination coming in for Team Revenant, and Paradox will be seen on the raise. DM, though, as we all know, just loves to play Jet. That is exactly what he's going with. Helef will be playing the Omen, and Amaterasu on the Sage, alright. And Doma will be the Cypher. So they are running a double Sentinel comp. Team Velocity should get good number of rounds on defense, and then the attacks will be very, very quiet, very, very slow default sort of attacks, I think. And that's where Team Velocity will try to find their rounds in the attacking side. But on the other hand, I love what Team Revenant is running. A very util heavy comp. You put two players on a site, and all the sort of combinations you can make with these 5 agents in pair of 2, they'll easily be able to stop a 5-man push coming towards them.
Easily being the keyword over here. Revenant Esports fighting fire with fire. These guys are the epitome of aggression and breakneck paced executes. Velocity, on the other hand, was supposed to be a very flexible team, but because of their recent lineup changes, and I must say abundance of lineup changes, they are kind of struggling right now. Amaterasu and Hellfighter pick up agents which I expected them to, although it's been a while since I've seen a Sage on this map. I'm not really completely caught off guard with it. But Doma being on Cypher, yes, it does kind of tick me off. I would have expected a Killjoy on the other hand, but then again, Ching is also wielding the Hatted Spy, so it's fine. Velocity start with a fast pace execute towards the B side. The paranoia, it gets the better of Ching, but in this Cyber Cage, he might just be able to get it. Blackhawk was trying to follow up, hoping to trade out Ching, but the Trailblazer will make him very, very vulnerable. And the boom bot from Paradox is perfect. What amazing backup from these guys. Somehow Deathmaker is still alive, the flash doesn't get him. But Doma coming in from behind could be the difference maker. Inside the smoke, he's only able to get one. And Paradox is now trapped in there.
He's all alone though, and just has 30 HP to his name. Now if he's somehow able to find DM first, It'll be a great thing, but Paradox is being wrapped around by both the players.
Enemy remaining.
They try to go B main. Paradox delivers the headshot now down to Helef. And
No
the double
way!
headshots there. Para just closes out the round. And when we thought Team Revenant might drop the pistol, Para just says no.
Para, such an innovative player. He broke that gap in the barrier orb, hoping to set up a flank peek for himself. But instead, he held his ground, knowing that Velocity will like to retreat. And with that tiny gap in the barrier orb, he stops the retreat. Oh, Velocity could have just legged it all the way there. They could have just ran past when they knew where Paradox was, but they probably didn't realize how low he was. If they had any idea, they might have just double peeked him. And how often have you seen a boombot kill, honestly? I don't see it very often, so that is quite funny to look at too. Good stuff from Paradox.
Oh, Velocity, they're trying their luck. This is the round where you try to, find the default setup of Team Revenant. Because in the early pistol, you were not able to get anything. So this time around, they find vents completely empty. They know that this hold is going to happen towards the main side, either A or B. The stun is there, followed with a page kills from Paradox. So that will make sure that they are able to reclaim vents.
Wow.
And they've already flushed off Velocity. So in the first 40 seconds, they just clear out mid. No progress towards either sides because they even do not have a lurker on either of the main areas. So they are all grouped up. They're hoping that these pistols together are able to make something work, where DM has upgraded to a Sheriff and the remainder of the players, there is a shorty for Helef, but the other ones just with pistols.
Yeah. Now Doma has to be a heel. No.
No!
What am I watching over here? I was about to say that Doma has to be the hero because he's the only guy in that position. He was the one who was supposed to lurk while the rest of his teammates hit A. And he almost prevented getting knifed, but he still died regardless. Okay then, man. This kind of sets the pace for the game. It kind of sets the tone entirely. It's just the second round and we're already witnessing shenanigans like these.
Hey, the bottom line, Revenant gets the round. And there's no knife till now. For this game at least. At least till
So
now, they were not able to
Who
get
goes
that
for
knife.
a knife in the second round itself, dude? The game has just started.
I know. But the good thing is, if Josh falls there, I mean, you lose mid, you become a little bit paranoid. So things could have really gone wrong for Team Revenant. But hey, you get it under control. You got it under control. And look at Paradox. He's just 2 away from his showstopper too. And if you count Seekers as an impactful ultimate in this game, then just 2 more orbs available for Josh, and he'll have that he'll have those Seekers ready. But an early aggression towards this B side will result in a trade. But guess what? No smokes for Velocity in the entire round.
Yeah, no smokes for Velocity. It's Hellfighter gone. Blackhawk put that nice beam in control smoke over there. And I think they probably wouldn't even have lost Paradox if it wasn't for the slow orb, because Paradox always swings wide and that kind of prevents his whole thing. At least the trade comes through. And you know what? Up against Vandals and Phantoms, I think even a 4v4 should be good enough. Flash. Set up a perfection, but that maker, he's got a flash in his face. And now it is going to be a bit weird because the dashes have been used up. There's only one bird left onto the Excali, and Velocity have lost quite a major chunk of their execute power.
They're waiting. They're waiting for all those cyclable util to come back, and especially, I'd say, Excali's bird is very important right now. One could be used for information, but the other needs to be thrown in to break the crossfire. Blackhawk spotted down too. The stun will be there. Amaterasu has a very important fight ahead of him. Right to Ace just peeks in perfectly. Gets a frag. No one checks Blackhawk, and he just reigns supreme with a 4K. And Revenant even win the bonus round.
Jesus, dude. Revenant are taking turns picking up all these multi-frags. First it was Josh with the almost knife and the triple kill towards Ape Heaven. Then it was Paradox and Pistol. And now it's Blackhawk. Every single time somebody or the other from Revenant is able to go on a massive killing spree. And I would be tempted to say that the individual heroics are setting Revenant up for success, but this is not just individual heroics now, aren't they? Even if Blackhawk wasn't able to get all of them over there, he had backup available. It's just that they never needed all this backup. And Now with cheap weapons once again, Velocity have to push into ramp as deep as possible. There's quite a lot of utility in the way, you know, the boom bots will be sent, Trailblazers exchanged on either side, and that will stop Velocity in their track. So instead of going ramp, they're now heading towards the bottom side, where one of them will get trapped in the wire, and Ching is able to just dismiss all of them to back to spawn, dude.
This is what I was saying, Grapes. I mean, the comp that they're running, they have so much util to gain ground to stop the attackers from coming into a side. It's just very difficult for Velocity to try. If they try to throw these attacks every now and then, if they try to push a side all together, it only needs 2 players of Team Revenant to stop that. That is the powerful utility they have. This time around, Excali just tripped into the tripwire. Ching was able to get one through the smoke, and then the push through heaven. Josh was just able to get everyone from that line of sight. And what a good round for Team Revenant. Keeping it clean, no weapons drop, money building up significantly, and they're looking very, very strong in the first half.
Yeah, one would have expected a defensive team to go up 4-0, but when Paradox is dry peeking you and deleting you like that, what can you possibly do?
No.
I would usually criticize dry peaks, but then again, it's Paradox, and he makes it look so easy. Finally, he gets punished for his over-aggression. He does get flashed because of the bird that Excali threw in, but now Excali has only the Trailblazer left. Both his birds have been used up. Josh uses the Seekers, and this will give away where Velocity are. But then again, Velocity don't have all that much map control in the first place, so maybe Revenant can take a chill pill.
Look at Blackhawk. He's all the way in their spawn, and I don't think so Velocity have any idea about the timing. The stun will even buy more time. The bird as well. It is all setting up Blackhawk up for success once again. He is trying to support his team, which is really not necessary. He could still just continue the flank and get the frags he needs, and of course he'll do that. The resurrection will be invested. The flash is there. The players fight. Oh, but Blackhawk! He had all the players lined up, and there was really no reason for Josh to peek before Blackhawk contacted over there. Oh, just some mistakes. Some mistakes into the battle. And Velocity, they bring the round back in their control.
Yeah, Velocity narrowly escaped that. I'm pretty sure they had their life flashing before their eyes as soon as they realized that Blackhawk is on the flank.
10 seconds left.
They must be feeling terrible that they let a flank like that slip by in the first place, let alone survive it. But because there's a resurrection available on Amaterasu, they do get second chances. 1v3 for Ching, and he's pulled off some amazing stuff before. This will be a bit difficult, but he's got his camera to work with. The barrier orb will make sure that he can isolate the fights towards the left-hand side and go towards the pillar uncontested. But then this crossfire is just a bit too deadly. It's a bit too lethal. There's a double up on the right side, another guy on left. It's nearly impossible to win this one, but does that stop him from trying?
I must wait.
Absolutely not. As long as he can kill some people and keep
exactly.
Economy humble, it should be great.
And he gets one. I mean, he did what he wanted to achieve over here. And Revenant, the fashion they won the first 4 rounds, and they have a lot of money. I mean, they're set for at least 2 or 3 more rounds like these. And bear in mind, Velocity did win a 3v5 overall, but it was on the back of a resurrection being baited out. And Paradox, if he keeps hitting shots like these, Velocity will have a really hard time figuring out how to go around him. And Ching, yeah, I mean, just while exiting, is able to get another frag. So this will put Team Velocity in a little bit of a tuffle. You have Helef playing with a half shield. Doma will probably need a drop from maybe Deathmaker, who then can play on his knives. So the weapons will be a little bit of a concern for Team Velocity. But yeah, I mean, Revenant, the timeout has been called. They know that Team Velocity is running a very defense-oriented composition. So they'll need to get as many rounds as possible on defense to give them that buffer they need to finally close the map or split in their own attacking half. So they cannot afford mistakes like these happening, because in the previous round, if Blackhawk takes the first contact, Velocity would have been easily destroyed there, because then all the players just try to look behind and just get exposed, and then a flash could be thrown in and the double peek from mid. The sequence could have been beautiful, but they jumped the gun a little bit. They wanted to create more distraction for Blackhawk, which led them to just give away all the frags for free. There was no trade except for Blackhawk getting one, and that was the guy who got resurrected. So yeah, Revenant, they are in control. They are in firm control, I'd say. And Velocity, let's see what do they do in this round to break the momentum that Team Revenant has.
Velocity have some massive ultimates, but none of them can really help them
Oh, Para.
channel their way inside. This was a massive ultimate from Paradox, but he blew up in his own face, and Excali's able to swing around him from the other side of sewers. So that didn't go as planned.
Not at all. And once again, Blackhawk is being called upon. He needs to pull off something miraculous in this site. Old Paranoia.
firing squad. Just pointing their barrels at you, ready to turn you into Swiss cheese the moment you peek.
Ugh. Oh, what answers do Team VLT find because of the timeout? Because whatever the coach told them would be applied to the next round, I feel. They do not have the weapons in this round instead. 3 sheriffs, a frenzy, and a spectre to work with. If they find a weapon to snowball the round, of course they do. Deathmaker is able to get one. Now, right to Ace, if he hears a lot, he could just invest the Rolling Thunder and try to find the equalizer and then fall back. But there is support. There is support from Josh, who has a bird too. And the Trailblazers could be exchanged for information. Stan is just waiting for the smoke to just be finished off. That is exactly what happens. But the Rolling Thunder gets invested. And the exact play happens. And Velocity, the numbers advantage they had, down and completely dusted. Doma did call that there is no one picking out A Heaven or A Bay, so you could find the site completely empty, and that is exactly what happens. They enter into the A site, but with the weapons they have, this retake should be fairly simple for the side of Revenant.
Yeah, Revenant will have to make sure that they don't walk into these velocity crossfires. I think they've already figured out where 2 of the players are. They just need to find the other guys, and looks like they found everybody. Amaterasu now trapped in a wall of his own making. He does have a better weapon, but he doesn't have a line of sight onto the spike, and now he doesn't even have eyes to see it with, because Ace planted a bullet between them.
Again, I mean, DM's not firing, the whole team's completely shut down.
And he's the one guy. He's the one guy who can get velocity and entry, right? They don't have a Rolling Thunder, they don't have a Showstopper, they don't have any of these big ultimates with which they can barrage into a site. It has to be the M.
Happening, that's the problem. That's the issue that I'm seeing against Team Velocity. They might even get the entry. They've lost a 4v5, I think, in the previous few rounds too. So the problem is that they're not trading efficiently. And once again, look at how isolated DM is. Yes, he has been set up. He might even have aim in A Heaven control, but all that does not matter, because at the end of the day, you'll have to execute inside. Finally, Excali is able to find that opening. Josh gets taken down through the smoke, the spray vent, and the frag is theirs. But let's see how does the side execute come in. Amaterasu dead. The Paradox just pops up the Showstopper. DM also has been taken care of, and look at how isolated the players at A-Main are. The Showstopper will find Excali. Right to Ace gets another. Paradox with a 3k in the round. And then again, the story remains the same. Revenant, they are capitalizing on it. They've got 8 rounds for themselves.
Okay, now this indeed is starting to look scary. I have to admit that when Velocity were playing split against Militant Esports, they looked quite stable, you know. They were able to get 7 rounds on defense, and they were able to win 13-10. Now, I agree that attacking is the harder side over here, but come on, they still need to have like at least 4 rounds in the first half. Otherwise, it would be quite difficult for them. I admit that Velocity has a more defense-oriented lineup, so it would be somewhat easy. But then Revenant also have a much more sharper attacking prowess. Blackhawk using the smokes to keep himself alive at the time, being cut off the assailants. But Paradox and his utility is just amazing all the time. He peeks out of the smoke, disrespecting everybody, and he mows them down. It's not even fair that he gets so many multi-kills in just one game, in just one half.
And no money this time around again. I mean, they will try to scrape up a buy. Oh, never mind. Velocity do have enough money to get in half shields and vandals and phantoms all around the board. But the previous 2 rounds, I mean, it seemed like it was a ranked game where as soon as your jet is not able to dash into the side, all the players are just afraid and hiding in corners. That is exactly what happened in the previous round, and they were just getting picked apart one by one. Great calls from Team Revenant too, to just, you know, disrespect the smoke. The flash gets thrown in and 2 players push out of that A Heaven smoke. But hey, overall, it is Team Revenant who really have a dominating lead. More like 10-2 if Team Velocity is not able to pull something completely different. And this time around, they are again going for a B split. Or probably a B execute where you'll have Doma late looking towards B Heaven. Maybe even with the support of Excali. So yeah, let's see Deathmaker if he's able to get that entry this time around. Ching is ready. He does not have any trick fire out B main. He is saving it for, I think, a retake situation. Or maybe if the player just dashes in for exact this thing. DM gets caught, but Amaterasu on the back of it. Finally, they're able to get those frags. Finally, they are able to nail the timing, get into the site, and make it a 2v5 retake scenario.
Exactly, that is perfect. But Josh is still looking sharp, and they all die as soon as they peek out of the smokes. Velocity with a flawless round to end the first half. This should definitely help spice things up. The timing was perfect. As soon as the jet dashed inside, the rest of them followed up right behind. They used the smokes for cover, and at the same time, the players on mid are able to peek and get all their frags as well. It's incredible. This amount of coordination was required from Velocity right from the get-go.
Yes.
But since they're a more defensive-oriented team, maybe they can mount a comeback on the second half. It is the curse scoreline after all. You know, it is 9-3, so maybe it's not completely off the menu yet. But will they be able to mount this comeback? We'll have to push. We'll have to look at this in the second half.
For my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Bro. The first half is done and Revenant lead 9-3. We wouldn't have expected such a dominant showing from them, but then again, Velocity are playing without their primary IGL, Eccles, and that might have something to do with the way they are struggling right now. Although there is some hope. The lineup that they have, the composition, the agents help them quite a lot on the defensive side, especially with Amaterasu's walls and Toma's trips. Maybe Velocity can put up a comeback.
I will find you.
Ooh, let's see. It is a very important question round for Team Velocity now. They need to win this by hook or by crook. The early stun will catch Kali over there, but Revenant are very keen to take a heaven control. Razor might be able to, it spots Kali down, and there are two different players over here, and they just wanted Ben's control for some reason so that they could pressure out mid, and Amaterasu will fall back. The smoke gets disrespected. A great paranoia from Helef. It will connect and delay the push a little bit more. And now this is a great setup on site to receive all the players with hands open, and Velocity execute each and every one of them. Josh, left alone, gets a couple of frags, but that's about it. And Velocity, a much needed pistol round in their back pocket.
And Deathmick is finally waking up. He was mostly absent in the first half. Just 3 frags in the entire first half, and now in the pistol round itself, he's picked up a 3-piece. I agree that Blackhawk was a bit of a freebie. He was trying to help his teammates come in from heaven and hopefully flash across the entire backside of Pillar, which would hit CT. But he gets caught by Deathmaker playing from that angle, and he was alone over there. It's not even like Deathmaker had any backup, so one wouldn't have expected that. One-way placed by Doma, but I hope that he can actually use them, because Revenant, when they try to go towards the A side, they usually hit ramp first, but with Deathmaker guarding that area, the gates are closed.
Should be a VLT round through, and they need to make it clean, and that's exactly what they're doing. Great spam from Excali, getting another frag onto Josh, leaving the 3 players. I mean, they are still together, but they really have no information on what's happening on the other side of the map. So they're all just pinched down A main. Doma spots right to ace. The Trailblazer will be triggered as a reaction. I think it spotted 2 or maybe all 3. Because I do see space being taken aggressively B main. Deathmaker gets another frag, just getting as close as possible to his Blade Storm. A few shots. Worm is there by DM. But hey, Amaterasu is there. He has your back, gets the trade, and brings velocity to 5.
All is well that ends well, but now Revenant will be ending their eco streak. The big guns are out. Only light shields on certain players, which can give the Spectres of Velocity a chance to melt through their skulls and their craniums. Although I must say that we haven't seen too much mid-aggression from Velocity yet. Nor have we seen it from Revenant. That's partially because it's only been 2 rounds, but maybe things will change now. Revenant instantly switch up their defaults. They're not stacking up outside of A main now. It's a 2-1-2 split for Revenant Esports, and they showcase presence towards either side of the map. So they want to keep Velocity guessing. Trailblazer up towards ramp. If he can break the tripwire, it would have been perfect, but he just misses it by a centimeter, and that is now going to give Velocity an extra layer of security.
I mean, those early cages that were thrown in from Ching just to make the players of A side a little bit paranoid that someone could have crossed up A heaven, just all gets cleared by one Trailblazer. So that's a great re-clear of real estate from Excali. And now they again see Ching, but you always know if you spot a Cypher, just, you know, try to lurk his way up a position, you exactly know that is where the hit is not coming. Yeah. And that's a correct assumption to be made here by Team Velocity as well, although they haven't forced rotations as of now. But hey, let's see how do they stop this B. Hey, they only have 2 players. There will be a little bit of support from Amaterasu, but that can be just hope with some slow ups. That's about it. But here comes the paranoia. Oh, here comes a stun, and it's just perfect. The flash to follow up too, but Deathmaker finally showing why he is a great player. Gets a couple of frags, but is not able to entirely stop that entry. The trades are there, and now it's a 3v3 for Team Revenant.
Exactly. There was only one gap in that entire push, and that was the gap between the pillar and the main area. That was covered by Deathmaker. The rest of them easily breached the distance. Paradox sashing in, getting both of those, setting his team up for entry, now putting them in post-plant. And it will be up to Paradox once again to make a difference. The flash is perfect. Ching and Paradox strike them hard. Everybody contributes with 1 on the board, and Revenant breach double digits.
Although I'd say it's still a good round for Team Velocity. Coming in with weaker weapons, you're able to drop 3 rifles. That's great econ damage, and now you'll have all the weapons you need in this round. And if you're somehow able to strike the players of Team Revenant back, if you're able to get the round in your control, you'll force Team Revenant to an eco. So it is a great spot to be in for Team. Not entirely great because they're still trailing down, but even now, if they're able to win this round, it would be a very good position that they will find themselves.
Alright, now that's a fast one. Scally's position predicted. There's a flash on one end, a nade on the other, and if that's not enough to kill him, a bullet to the brain definitely will. Doma still playing inside his cyber cages though. He could be a massive deterrent. The Aftershock and the Trailblazer both don't clear him out, and he's able to get one more. Overstays his welcome and still makes it work, but on the other side is Blackhawk. Oh, this could be a nice fake out. The plant does go down, and he's in prime position to stop Deathmaker, but instead, he will cancel it. And this will just make Deathmaker a little bit more paranoid. It will force him to spend more time re-clearing all these angles.
How do you use the smoke? that Helef has right now. The pop flash will be thrown into the paranoia. Is great at the end. A good entry too, but I think his knife stuck out, and that's what helped Blackhawk get that frag and right to AC wins his duels. So a lot of duels happening all around, but it is Team Revenant who are coming out on top. 11th round for them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that Doma is able to get a second one over there because there's so much util thrown at him and somehow he survives all of that. Even Blackhawk able to get more than one kill. That was a dry peak. It would have been an unfair fight, but he still is able to get it. I must say though, the moment that Nigga dashed in, if he was just 1 second earlier, it would have been perfect. He wouldn't even get flashed and he could have gotten them both. But the bird gets him before he's blind, and Paradox is now behind Excali altogether, breaking his ankles, forcing him to look in a completely different direction.
This is the worst possible nightmare for a low sensi player. You just cannot flick that high. Your mousepad just ends. And I think that is what happened with Excali. His mousepad just ended and Paradox was still in the air, so he just sort of accepted his fate. Hoped that someone would walk in from A main and give him a frag, so at least he'll be useful in that situation, but nah, this did not happen. And now Ching, wait a minute, he will now give away a rifle, and the players will be healed out too. So Revenant, and still there is a lot of time left on the clock. Right to Ace though, he's able to give a lot of damage onto the elbow. Player LF still gets one, the showstopper gets nothing. But Paradox, he is just like a final boss for Team Revenant. Just getting through him is something Velocity cannot do.
Especially when the final boss has small mini bosses next to it. That stun from right to Ace, it was amazing. Clears up the entire corridor and everybody's then concussed. Jesus, dude. Revenant Esports are speed running this map. Split was supposed to be the pick of Velocity, but it's backfiring on them so hard. And up next is going to be Bind. Revenant have already proved that they are very good on that map. And Velocity have never played Bind before, so all things point in just one direction. There's a massive upset incoming. Oh, Excali narrowly survives. Lucky to escape with an inch of his life. Amaterasu really wants to make sure that they can't go in towards bends and change their tracks later on, but Revenant don't have any plans of changing anything. The Rolling Thunder concusses everybody in the site, makes them very easy targets.
And this guy just does not stop. Has to be the MVP of the game. I mean, he's looking for the third. He even
100%.
gets it. He even gets it, and Helef finally comes in with the flank. Is able to take down one, but Revenant. That's a dominant victory if I've seen one. 30-5 on your opponent's map pick. We are yet to see Bind. That's the biggest thing. We're yet to see Bind. And on Split, which was picked by Velocity, it seemed like Velocity were playing it for the very first time.
I mean, they've had troublesome games against Militant before. Revenant were obviously going to take the difficulty level up a notch. And especially when Paradox is firing on all cylinders. And not just him. In fact, the entirety of Revenant Esports is just hitting their shots, trading with each other so well, swinging at the same time. Everything about them is flawless. I haven't seen too many mistakes from Revenant at all. So this was a very solid game.
Oh, Revenant. I mean, you'll have to be wary about this team. I mean, even OG said it, that Team Revenant did pose us a great threat. And I think Velocity really did not do their homework on how this team likes to play Split, but hey, it has come to bite them back, and it's a 1-0 lead for Team Revenant in this series.
Yeah, up next is going to be Bind, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for that map. We'll be...
Hit for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
I know my destiny.
combined too, and bear in mind he will play Raze. So two similar agents, two similar sort of maps. Hey, he is in for a treat now.
I think we might just see a double duelist from Velocity. What do you think? I think Deathmaker will stick to the Jet, or maybe Doma will pick it up, but I think we will definitely have one Raze or the other. I have a feeling Excali might pick the Raze over here. I want to know if I am correct over here. I mean, why not, right? Excali is amazing at that particular character, and it's been a while since we've seen Excali play the Raze, so I would be really, really appreciative of this guy if he's able to bring that agent online today. I mean, they hesitated to play the Raze on Split, which I think was a tiny, tiny contributing factor to their loss. But on Bind, come on, Raze is a staple pick. You cannot ignore her.
Let's see though. Hell this time around goes in with the Viper. So yeah, I mean, of course, when we see a Viper, it's a double controller setup. Amaterasu rocking the Brimstone. Para, he goes in with the Raze, and DM is also playing the Raze. Doma is on the Sky and Kali on Sage. A very similar sort of a setup being run by Revenant. They have Josh on Jet though, so there is no Sage in their composition. But this huge change from Team Velocity in terms of composition. Let's see if it takes Revenant to back, and if Team Revenant is able to owe them, or is it Velocity who make a comeback over here and push us to a third map, push us to the third game of the series. Oh my god, this is going to be very, very interesting to see. I cannot wait to jump into round number 1 of this game number 2. It is gonna be Velocity starting out on defense first, and Bind
that he was a dead man the moment the orbital strike was committed. I have to admit, this was so funny.
They should capitalize on it now. Orbital strike ready for Amaterasu. Deathmaker has the showstopper too. Revenant, they will just be forced to play with the blades of Josh.
I mean, these orbital strikes have been quite funny now, haven't they? As soon as Blackhawk committed that orbital strike, I thought this guy is a dead man. Somehow survives and he gets healed back up as well. So it was really quite funny to see him get through all that mess. Although I must admit, now Velocity are going to be playing dangerous games. These judges have given them quite a lot of advantage before, but I'm not sure if they can continue doing the same. As long as Amaterasu is creative with his barrier orbs, I think they will still have an edge. Luckily, Revenant Esports don't have a lot of weaponry this time, so they can use one of those Blitzkrieg attacks and probably catch Velocity off guard. And they've already started to do so. Just decapitates Hellfighter. That's the judge out of the equation. They can easily dash into the lamps now.
There'll be a weapon to retrieve too. I'll try to make it a post-plan situation. So let's see how do Team Revenant want to play this one out. Paradox has the pain chills too, so if any close angle needs clearing, he can use a bit of util. And there is some A showers presence shown too by Blackhawk. But Revenant, they regroup outside B. I think they're trying to play it contact, and Blackhawk gets a frag onto DM. Excalibur has also been spotted down by Paradox, but Excalibur at least wins the duel. Amaterasu inside, a very important fight, and the Dink is there too. Amaterasu will be passed back up. Josh not expecting that angle, and that's the spike down. There is just a sheriff available for right away, so he needs to hit the shot, and the time is also a concern. Gets the spike down, has two birds to play with. Wants to isolate, won't be able to do. Doma just cleans up shop, and Velocity, they continue their winning run.
Yeah, but look at the simultaneous assaults by Revenant Esports. They are consecutively hitting all sides of the map at the same time. You have Paradox making contact towards a shot. He fights Scally over there. At the same time, Blackhawk is trying to fight out of Bath. He almost dinks and kills Amaterasu. This would have been a big game changer because all of Velocity were very confused as to where the actual hit is coming. You know, they weren't able to get their rotations in on time. And if it wasn't for Doma going unchecked over here, this round probably could have belonged to Revenant. Ace does the best he can in that situation. He doesn't have time, doesn't have HP, and he's strapped. So he's like, yeah, I might as well just get the plant, get that money, and then skedaddle out of here rather than try to actually go for the frag wins. But this is a good start for Velocity now. Both the teams taking the lead against each other in each other's map pick.
And that's an important timeout called over here. Now bear in mind, Bind is a defensive map, although Revenant did not seem to care about that particular fact when they played against OG and they were just running away with the rounds. But this time around, they are facing Velocity, and Velocity have an answer for everything they try. Most of which is again based off of Deathmaker and him getting those early frags. And then inside, Doma and Amaterasu have been just clutch players, always getting those 2s and 3Ks. So yeah, I mean, Revenant, they're fundamentally not doing anything wrong. It's just the trades are not there, which was really a problem for Velocity in the previous map. Let's see if they have been able to figure something out, because they are. I mean, they try to put the top onto A, and him not having that escape mechanism just hurt the players of Team Velocity now. Down. No, but this is away off the round.
This is still such a difficult fight for Excali to win, right? He's getting double peaked over there. Of course, there was Hellfighter to trade alongside him, so it ideally should have just funneled in and turned into a big 2v2 fight. But now there's no way for them to recover this op, and it's gone.
The problem here, I think, is the new rework. He was not expecting a player to peak so wide, and then the door is also widened, so that angle is not that comfortable as it used to be earlier. That could be one of the problems because of which Excali was not able to hit that first shot. Because if he does, as you say, the second player gets activated too. So even if Excali gets traded, Helef has a chance to trade him back. But that just did not happen because the first frag went Revenant way. And now it's all Helef, all alone in the site. No backup, no backup of any sorts, and he's able to get one, but that's about it. That's all she wrote in Revenant. They find themselves in a post-plan situation, a
30
4v3
seconds left.
post-plan situation,
Spike
but
planted.
Deathmaker has a very impactful ultimate, the Showstopper.
The showstopper definitely can be a game changer. But Revenant aren't giving them any fights whatsoever. The boombot spots nothing, the birds see nobody. Amaterasu just has to hope that the Molly is able to clear out at least one player, or maybe force someone to give out an audio cue. Doma's going for a very risky trailblazer. If someone shoots him in the back of his head, it would be a game over right here. And Paradox wants to peek out of that Viper Toxin Cloud. Jing is cleaning up shop. Deathmaker finally does something, but there's really not much for him to offer at this point.
Paradox does not even let him save the weapon. Although, money would be least of Velocity's concern right now, because they were able to get quite a few rounds on the back of winning the pistol and then the bonus. So that wouldn't be a problem. They still will be able to purchase in. But how do they stop? How do they, sort of counter would be the right word. The way that Paradox is playing. Because again, he was able to deliver the first frag. Excali missing the off shot, although could have been where the round turned, because essentially after that Revenant just played it perfectly, played the post plant perfectly this time around. But yeah, there we go. LF, he has already started off. He has a judge inside his own ultimate, and all the utility is around him, but they're not able to get him. They're not able to get the frag down, and Excali on just on the back of it is able to get one. The Molly will although give away his position. Paradox gets a frag, and now the smoke as well, and then the counter pit. Revenant, they should have this round. Although the Showstopper gets one, but the player behind him is the one he took down. Amaterasu is there with the trade. It's a 2v3. The pit is still down. That's the major ultimate that Team Velocity need to find a way to play around.
I don't think they're going to plant right now. They will let the pit drop. They were hoping that somebody would be on the other side of it, and that would give them an edge going into the gunfights. But now they can just peek out of anywhere. Velocity is expecting them to peek from the lamps area. Rather, Amaterasu, as soon as he starts getting healed, he gets shot down, and Excali, he still wins those fights. What a clutch player.
Oh, getting into the second fight, he just had 16 HP left, and he still comes out on top. That's just good shots from Velocity. And
Join his team. In fact, he's ready to jump through the TP,
Oh,
but
Josh.
the B long area has been breached already. And as soon as he jumps into the TP, Ace is ready for this one. Ching is making this one work, and all of a sudden, Revenant find themselves ahead of Velocity.
but look at the problem. The spike is stuck inside the teleporter, and you need Ching to come and bail right to Ace out. The spam is not being thrown in. He finally goes in for the spam, but both the players cross. The spike will now have enough time to be planted down, but can Amaterasu stop the players? No, he cannot. The spam does not find right to Ace. He is trying to give the players a hard time, but now he is the one in trouble. Tries to fake out the jump, but no one's biting, no one's peeking. Amaterasu gets picked by Ching, and that's a Thrifty and Revenant. With this round could really come back in the game.
You saw him at the end of the whole round. The other guy also threw out his pistol to imitate what Amaterasu was doing. Oh, I swear to God, the subtle BM from the players of Revenant Esports is so entertaining to watch. But these egos, man, Velocity can't afford them anymore. I thought that Amaterasu would be a dead man the moment he picked up a fight towards Hookah because he can't be traded. And while he's the one who's able to get all the frags, Revenant bulldozed their way through B long. I thought that was the stronger area for Velocity, but Josh is just able to decapitate everyone with the Guardian. And then he flips the script. As soon as Amaterasu realizes that the site is vacant and he's in danger now, he pushes out, partially to stop the guys from teleporting in, but as soon as they killed Hellfighter on the TP, Amaterasu was supposed to help him out. He wasn't present. He was already way ahead of him. Good adjustment by Ching too. Uses the Poison Cloud to bail the Spike out of a troublesome situation.
And that timeout from Velocity is out of desperation because now they themselves don't have money. So if Revenant do not get thrifty, Revenant should have the fourth. And that's a decent number to put in first half on the map of Bind. Although yes, previously your defense was not that good. Team Revenant defense is where they lost most of their rounds. But I mean, it is a different day, it is a different team you're facing against. So the results could be different too. Doma spotted multiple players of team Revenant heading his way and instantly hits the TP. Now Amaterasu, let's see if he's even able to get one. The Trailblazer will make sure he does not get anything. Ching chucks him down. There is no one on this B side. There will be Hellf try to creep in maybe, but yeah, that Molly will make sure he does not. Easy side entry, orbital strike ready if necessary on the post plan. Revenant, they should have this round locked for themselves.
Oh, that was a very faulty one-way. Paradox had no reason to peek over there. But even if he does, I can understand. He kind of wants to figure out exactly how many players are there. Velocity know that one has crossed into elbow. They have two players' information available on Hookah, but they need to find the rest. And the orbital strike shuts them down perfectly. It buys so much time. And now poor Doma was isolated. His teammates now have to jump through this toxin screen, which they never know is going to be up or down. And of course, the sound cues from dropping will give away their positions too. The spike is half gone, and with it, the hopes of Velocity as well. Blackhawk getting exits as he finally makes his way across, but all these frags go heavily in the favor of Revenant, and they keep two of their weapons alive as well. Velocity will now be soon facing the broke days once again. You know, they've been in the economic trenches in Split, and I just hope they don't find themselves over there once more. The last few weapons that they can muster will be purchased now. But if Velocity lose this, they will only have just a tiny bit of money in the next round. They will have a loss bonus of 3 rounds, which isn't all that much.
I mean, the only thing that you can say went positive for Velocity in the previous round was the usage of orbital strike. So they have one ultimate less to worry about in this half, and Helle starts on a very positive note too. The orbital strike will force the players to again just go into the welcoming arms of Hellf, and Hellf is able to mow down 3. And look at the quick flank 2 through a shot. Paradox will take the chance, will take the risk to get the spike down. For Velocity, the retake should be there. Oh, but wait a minute. Paradox has Showstopper available.
Timing.
That could be used, but exactly the timing is not in his favor. Does he see the gun barrel? Of course he does.
No way!
Back onto Excali. What was that? And suddenly the post plant becomes so very strong for Revenant. Showstopper, Nade, and a whole lot of Ching too. And they don't need any of it because Paradox went in, guns blazing, and gets the ace.
Jesus Christ, he's the only one who makes it across. The Blitzkrieg speed of his satchels takes him on the other side, and that's a position Hellfighter can't shoot him down in. Kudos to Hellfighter as well. Amazing spray down as the rest of Revenant were trying to escape the orbital strike. But you look at the positioning of Paradox, and you could tell that he didn't have all the information. He threw in the nade towards the lamps area. He was planting while watching the smoke, which kind of tells you that Revenant aren't sure if Velocity are present over there or not. And despite lacking information, despite almost getting shot in the back of his head while he was trying to PK shot, he's able to slay them both. That's just nuts. And once again, the awareness is perfect. Amaterasu has to make a run for it. And now there's a showstopper on his M. Okay. That wasn't supposed to happen, but it did.
I mean, Amaterasu did one good thing, made the player super low so that he just dies to his own rocket.
Yep.
And although you'd say that it is a good trade for Team Velocity maybe, but now for retakes you do not have any smokes left. So it has to be a complete
They can res.
weapon round. They can, but look at the position. He okay, yeah. Now they can. Never mind. So the smokes are back in action. And now Doma spotted two players. Right to ace has the bird available and the flash is there, although he turns it
No
perfectly.
way.
He turns it perfectly and even puts right to ace to a grave. The operator gets one. The knife gets one. The second is not there and the shots get whiffed. Ching should have been able to at least get one in that spot, but it does not happen. And Velocity, they close this half 7-5.
Sorry to spoil the party.
Well, at least Velocity keep this competitive.
Switching sides.
7-5 lead in the first half. So much better than Split already. But then again, this is partially because of the stage. They did have a little bit of a defensive composition. Especially with Hellfighter doubling up as a pseudo sentinel. They will have quite a lot going in their favor in the first half, which was expected. But now in the second half, how will they get inside? Of course, with the Viper being available in the double controller, they will have the ability to bamboozle Revenant Esports. But Revenant are the kind of team that will just run them down, you know. On the defensive side, Revenant play very aggro. And they take map control quite quickly. So even if you are able to bamboozle them with the double controller setup, Revenant have ways of gathering information. So will this be a clean 2-0 or will we see map number 3? We'll find out on the other side of this break.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Bro, fridge meat के लिए, heat के लिए नहीं. Bro, this graphics card is making my frames drop. Come with me if you wanna game.
The all-new Omen 16 with advanced Tempest cooling technology, now with 5 heat pipes and 4 thermal outlets. The Omen 16 with 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor to make you forget your frame drops.
Now that's cool.
Game on with Tempest cooling.
Presenting Hyundai i20 N-Line. It's time to play.
Yes, I'm a Gen Z. Or should I say, the Gen Next. And I don't let fear hold me back from doing anything. I choose to move fearlessly through it all.
Hey buddy, we need you to trim your beard for this next scene.
What? Okay, fine, I'll admit it. I move fearlessly in most things, but I draw the line here. What if I Nico cut myself?
Try this.
Phillips.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Welcome back to Omen Valorant Challenges South Asia. You guys are watching Velocity versus Revenant Esports, and yep, Revenant did win map number 1 in quite a dominant fashion, but at least in buy-in, Velocity are able to save their face, have a little bit of grace, and maybe they might even make Revenant regret this one. But Paradox ignores the flashes. He just goes in straight for the kill. He ignores the boombot and the nades. This man is unstoppable. They've jumped in from the TPs as well, and they will blitzkrieg onto Velocity Gaming. A 2-for-2 trade instantly. At least it's down to a 2v2 once more, and right off the bat, the violence is the solution.
Josh though has very little HP left, so you need to be very careful, Paradox, while taking these fights. It is better to give away the spike and the position so that at least you're able to win the round. But Josh, he himself is hopping all around, a shot, and wants to get the perfect timing onto Hellf. But does he get it is the question, Paradox. They're playing in such symphony right now. That team Revenant, let's see if they're able to close out the round or not. Josh finds a good spot, has to hit the shot, does not onto Amaterasu, has to fall back, has to reposition again. And this cat and mouse game, between Team Velocity and Revenant. Let's see which of these teams comes out on top. And the problem here for Revenant is Paradox is nowhere near the trading position. So Josh has to play a rat angle to at least get one. And he is positioned perfectly. They will still hit the TP though. And now Paradox will be activated once again. He has the perfect spot. He has the perfect angle. Let's see if he's able to hit the perfect shots. He will be cut off because of the line of sight, but gets the shot corrected. Still, through the smoke he goes. But LF is able to trade things out in a 1v1. A single bullet to the dome is what both the players need. The reposition from LF is great. And will he be countered? Of course he will. It is Paradox. And he gets the job done. A pistol round where you needed the equalizer. Revenant, they just push from everywhere on the map. And finally it is Paradox once again to bail them out.
Paradox, the messiah of this team. He's the hero. He doesn't need a cape. Sometimes he can be a villain to the other team, but I love the aggression from Revenant. Paradox is just absolutely relentless now, isn't he? All the utility in the world just doesn't bother him. There's birds, nades and boombots in his face, but he will just go for the fights. And he somehow restabilizes all throughout. Revenant even jump in from the B long teleporters. They've used this Viper wall which covers the entirety of Hookah, B long as well as Bath. So Revenant can easily crunch this area again and again. And this time it's Josh. Same place, same problem for Velocity. Only the player is different, and now they lost the spike too. So yeah, this round is looking sealed already.
Anyways, Velocity were not expecting much. I mean, if you lose the first pistol round, it's always against you in the next round. And yeah, alright, Excalibur does have a say in it, gets a frag. But then again, remember the Sage heal nerf. It will impact Excalibur a lot. He's just 1 or maybe 2 bullets of a Spectre. 38 HP, yeah, 2 bullets will take him down. He is still trying to take some shots, and even Doma's trying to creep up.
Enemy remaining.
Doma gets one, but then right to ace is there with the trade. In a 1v3, Doma has done it before. Won't be able to do it this time around. Good thing that they're able to drop a couple of Spectres all around. But yeah, Revenant, I don't think so. They'll take a big hit because of it.
Sheesh. Equalizer right away. Revenant Esports are always supposed to be the most aggressive team. I mean, they kind of built up their reputation like this, you know? Even back in the off-season, when they weren't playing in Split 1, we knew Revenant Esports would have added a little bit of spice to the tournament because they are such a dynamic and aggressive team, and now they're really showing us why. This smoke that's been put up by Blackhawk makes Velocity kind of paranoid. They're expecting someone to peek on the back of it. That's exactly why Hellfighter is using his snake bites right away. Even Doma and the rest of the boys from Velocity are holding this smoke, expecting a push. But they don't see anybody on the back of it. Paradox deliberately reveals himself, hoping to set up Josh for success. That was a good bait. And now Blackhawk helps them out as well. Picture perfect Valorant, man. Paradox distracts them, Josh decapitates them, and even though Paradox has taken a lot of damage, he's able to continue hitting these headshots.
I mean, do one better. He's able to retrieve the rifle too, and then the showstopper. Oh my god, this round is done. Revenant is just firing on all cylinders. Every player is winning his duel. And it seems like Right to Ace is the only one to have a piece of pie. He is the only one left, but yeah, Paradox will fill in him for... never mind. Revenant.
Fill his body full of lead. Just pump his guts full of those bullets, you know. Put him in excruciating pain. Dude, what is this? Revenant walk into the round with Spectres and Sheriffs and whatnot. They walk out with multiple upgraded weapons, a showstopper, and enough cash for an op. That's just absolutely brilliant.
Oh my god, and what do Team Velocity do? I mean, it is still not over. At least it's better than what we saw on Split. But they need a victory over here, and that too convincingly, I'd say, so that at least we have some hopes on map number 3. But for now, it seems like Revenant will find themselves in the lead after this round. Both the players inside have been spotted down, so that's one good thing. DM misses the paint shell, so that angle has to be re-cleared, but you cannot disrespect the Viper wall. They try to jump through, and Ching is making short work of everybody. He's just getting all frags left and right. The switch to
Player
Sheriff.
standing.
Won't be able to get the frag, but yeah, Excali. Man, you're good for one every time, but your team isn't.
Revenant Esports. Now they are starting to make Velocity Gaming sweat. This is almost deja vu of Split. Revenant won 4-0 in Split. They started off on a very brilliant note, and now they have 4 rounds consecutively strung together in this second half of Bind as well. And they don't even lose a lot of weapons, which means the economy will snowball out of control. Look at the money that Ching has. 7,000 bucks to spare. 6,350 on Blackhawk. They've got money for days, and they're about to reach double digits. Doma instantly pops the Seekers. That's a bit too early of an investment, but I guess he just wanted to find out how many are towards the B side. But with all 3 Seekers going B, it will mislead Velocity. Revenant are just starting to rotate back into B side, and the timing is going to be crucial. Hellfighter and Deathmaker rack up the kills. At least Ching is able to burn one before he dies, but Josh with the op is just absolutely nuts. And now he's got the blades too. Inside the smoke, he will be disoriented, dismembered, but Paradox shows us what dismemberment truly means. He will literally disintegrate them to pieces, blow them to smithereens, and now it's back to 2v2. We are back to square one, and Velocity are on the starting blocks once again. Spike drop deep inside enemy lines. And Revenant have to make sure this crossfire is intact, but Paradox peeks ahead.
The flash.
Blackhawk has to make this perfectly. The flash does give away his position, but he can always take another posy. Doma anticipates that too.
Velocity. Mid-round they hit the brakes, and that's a great call. I mean, Revenant, the way they were flooding into the side was just insane. Josh, even though he gets one frag and was surrounded with a lot of players, he still bought a lot of time for his team to get into the side, and that's where Paradox gets the showstopper frag. It was a 2v2, but both the players lost their duels. But hey, they were able to significantly dent the economy for Velocity. Velocity do have one thing in their favor, that they have a couple of ultimates getting into this round. They have the pit available, and they have the resurrection. Resurrection, in my mind, is one of the best possible abilities in the game, but then using it is completely another thing. You do not get to use it more than twice, or at maximum 3 times in a whole game. So that is something you'll need to keep in mind. Excali, ask your boys to just go forward, try to take those early fights, because the resurrection is always available.
Unless you're someone like Vibhor, you won't get to use your ultimate more than 3 times in a round. Remember that one game where Vibhor was playing and he was able to get his lockdown like some 4 times?
Yep.
The first time in the 3rd round itself. That was quite a good series. But now Velocity have all these dangerous ultimates. Look at it. Hellfighter with the Viper Spit can shut down an area by himself. And if Velocity lose the other parts of the map, Revenant will be in trouble because of the showstopper as well. Not the best flash, but that's okay. They wouldn't have found anyone anyway. But you can't peek out of the Viper Poison Cloud like that. Deathmaker instantly dies. Ace snaps onto his heads. Okay. I think Ace wasn't supposed to survive their encounter, but he still gets away with a favorable trade.
All while Doma is still holding A shower. So essentially, I think they will come back to that A site. And the good thing for Revenant, they did not over-rotate. So they still have both these players standing on the A side. And again, Showers is being smoked. So Doma really has no information about the players on side, except for the time where Paradox gives him a step or throws a piece of util. That is when he can call that at least 2 players are on side, because the Brim is smoking the side again and again, and Para is throwing some util. And Para's position will be known. The Seekers have been invested by Team Revenant to make sure that B is completely clear. And look at that. Josh instantly rotates. To buy some time, there's a molly on A. Showers, there's a laid out A shot. And Josh has now arrived. The showstopper.
Wow!
They yield a kill because Paradox has some heroics. And on the back of it, Blackhawk and Josh get those frags.
No way!
He's a madman. He's a madman to just attempt plays like that and make them work.
Holy hell, dude. I'm not sure if this guy is playing Valorant anymore. I haven't seen movement like that. I mean, we've seen Jets dodge showstoppers by updrafting in, but satcheling isn't as simple as updrafting, right? It's not just one button. You have to position yourself too. He dealt some damage to Deathmaker and then just satcheled away so flawlessly. And that too in just one blast pack, straight on the other side of the truck. Repositions towards lamps and then climbs back once more to shoot down the Brimmy in the head. Holy hell. That has to be an MVP worthy play. If I don't get to see that in the highlights anymore, I will personally take it up with my producer guy.
My God. I mean, it's one thing to lose a round, and it's one thing to lose a round and your mind too.
And get completely styled on.
How do you recover from a situation like that? Because now you don't even have money. I mean, money is also not supporting you in game. So that will definitely hurt the players of Team Velocity a lot. See, if they find something, if they're able to get into the side, if they get a frag, they can always use that pit. Let's see if that's the case or not. A very defensive move thrown in, but yeah, right way is still not cleared. The pit will irrespectively be thrown, and the player is not checking the corner. So Blackhawk, if he moves in, he gets a free frag. Velocity though are yet to get the spike down, and all the rotations are already here for Team Revenant. 3 players inside. I think maybe 4 players. All 4 players on site.
Yeah, but look at these smokes from Revenant. From Velocity Gaming. They don't cover the CT and the elbow sides. They only make sure that the backside is available for Revenant, which they will use as a staging ground. And when Josh jumps in, he will definitely have some momentum. Ching captures momentum on the back of it. He jumps in alongside him. And all of a sudden, this action turns into traction and Revenant are digging a shallow grave for Velocity Gaming. They don't have time to dig 6 feet. They're gonna speedrun through this game.
8-11. And the momentum which Team Velocity had in the first half snatched away from them. I mean, it looks like all the mistakes that were happening in the game against OG have been corrected. Have been fixed from Revenant. This second half is looking like they have every possible read. Every utility and the timing of it is just perfect, and then Paradox is making plays out of the world which are working too. How do you work around it if you're Team Velocity? Do you try and change up the pace? It did not work the previous time. Do you try and go for the slow default where time is your worst enemy? Did not work. You've already tried it. What do you do against this squad of Revenant?
I mean, this time it wasn't even Paradox who made the most amazing plays, right? It was just Velocity failing to put the smokes at the right place. They only cover very little area. Only as far as the Viper's pit goes. The Sky Smokes were also deployed towards either side of the metal box, so it really makes it difficult for Velocity to have good post-plant positions. And with smokes like that, Revenant can easily circle you around, and that will be a big problem. Oh, a rare miss from Josh, but I think he can get away with that one.
He might not, but right twist is always there to support. And then the player coming out, B long gets 1 frag. Amaterasu, great shot, and then DM turns onto Blackhawk too. Finally the symphony into the side.
Spike planted.
But then again, I'd not give it to the players of Team Velocity, and I'll explain in a minute unless this retake happens. Never mind, yeah. Completely shut down. But all of this happened because Excali was not picked off. He was just shot in the leg, a 120 tag. And you had the orbital strike ready to push off George from that angle, which you won't have in this round. So to replicate all those instances again in the follow-up round to win it, is something very difficult for Velocity to do now.
But at least they're able to put up some rounds together, you know? He was a thrifty of sorts, but they're able to get it to work. They were always out of money. They lost a lot of the weaponry in that Viper's pit round, and this time they're finally able to get some success. But if they lose this once again, then Velocity will be broke once more. At least with this one, they've somewhat neutralized that economy that Revenant had, you know? At one point, they were rolling in money. Now even they have slightly precarious amounts in the bank. Hold on, though.
This is A piece.
Yeah, this is an A piece, but Josh is positioned perfectly. Okay, at least the Trailblazer shows you where the AWP is, but he repeats that angle. Who would expect that?
And he is still inside. Hey, you fall back over there, and if you do not, Doma just takes off your head. The orbital strike is ready and will be baited out. Great presence of mind from Amaterasu to just bait out the orbital strike. And then the molly, or maybe not because Deathmaker's already watching the angle. But DM forced out. The molly is burning him down, and he gets cleared. Although Doma is able to get one. Blackhawk with the second though. Wait a minute, Revenant trading it perfectly. The Velocity, they hightail it towards the B side. They hit the TP, they will get the plant. and make themselves comfortable in a 2v2 post plant situation because they have a lot of time to work with.
Doma has to set this flash up for success. Amaterasu positioned perfectly to play on the back of it, but the timing is just simply not there. Revenant Esports, they get map point. They're on the verge of 2-0ing Velocity Gaming. This was quite a spectacular round, I must admit. It started off in a slightly dicey fashion because all the repeats from Josh were somewhat questionable. Yes, he's able to get that frag onto Hellfighter, which is all nice and great. Even Paradox gets killed early on. So I'm thinking, yeah, maybe Velocity have this in the bag because the trades were going well in their favor. Even the orbital strike gets dodged, so that ideally should be Velocity's cue to win. But guess what happens next? Ching hits them like a truck. First, he burns Deathmaker. And because he's giving away so much sound and he's flashed, Blackhawk is able to get a very easy kill onto him. And then the spray transfer onto the other guy on top. That was just not supposed to happen. Amaterasu was playing for first contact. He was hoping that the flash from Doma would come in at the perfect time. But Amaterasu died before he could even fire back. And then Doma does the best he can. Just put the flash down, hope that he's able to spray them both, but that's just not possible. The movement on these guys is just a bit too good.
Why is the timeout call though from Revenant? I mean, it will
Why
help
not?
Velocity. It will help Velocity more than anything because I think Velocity did not have any timeouts left.
I mean, we've seen many a times in the past where Velocity are on the verge of losing a map, but then because of a timeout, they're able to mount that comeback.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So maybe something similar can happen. But then again, Revenant also have to take a risk over here and go for that tactical timeout. You know what happened yesterday, right? Or rather in the last match that Revenant played. They didn't take a tactical timeout. OG kept on climbing and climbing. And before you know it, OG made the comeback and they won the game. So Revenant have to take that chance.
Let's see though. In terms of ultimates, you do not have anything impactful. Deathmaker even misses his double satchel. So I think this shows that, okay, yes, Deathmaker is playing the race, but he is not very comfortable on the agent because double satchel is something you really need to just master in the first few days if you want to play it on this map. So many close corners can be just cleared by perfectly throwing in those double satchels. And Doma just making sure A U-Haul is completely empty. They get the control, they get the wall down too. But now how do you deal with the showstopper? You run away, that's how. Amaterasu tagged up, left with 25 HP, but the thing is he's still surviving, although Paradox, he is trying to just throw the nade, throw every bit of utility that he has to stop the plant, but it still happens. And Amaterasu burning because of the molly a little bit. But this retake from Revenant is going to be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah, Velocity don't have much space to work with. As long as Doma can circle around Bath and maybe alleviate some pressure, stopping the spike from being diffused is very difficult. Velocity have to fight their way through. They take battles on two fronts, both towards A-Shot as well as the lamps, but Josh scales up the height and his blades are making a difference. Excali's so lost, so confused. He's got sound cues all around him, but he can't see an enemy. And Doma's flank finally comes into effect, but Ace shuts it down before he can make too much of an impact. The time has run out, but Ace is taking it. Amaterasu can't shoot him in time. Revenant have done the impossible. They take down Velocity 2-0. And just like that, Velocity's dynasty is heavily being questioned.
Oh, what a game. What a game from the side of Team Revenant. I mean, before the game started, me and Crips were having a conversation regarding this and we're talking how Revenant really have a chance at beating Team Velocity. But none of us expected it to be a 2-0. We all thought that this will be a 3-map series. So Velocity have been buried deep into the ground as Revenant, they virtually have confirmed their spot in the playoffs.
Revenant pulling off what probably could have been one of the biggest upsets in VCSA. Velocity did have a lot of questionable decisions in this game. The map pool being one of them, the choice of players being another, but none as crazy as the decision to pick up Sage on both these games. I can probably chalk it up to that, because that gives them so much stability but also takes away so much control. It takes away the ability to scale up, which is essential against a fast-paced team like Revenant Esports. And now that Echoes and Doma have lost against OG as well as Revenant, their position in the top 3 is in tatters. It's a big risk. I mean, at one point we were expecting Velocity to win the entire tournament, and now we might see that they don't even make it to playoffs. There's still quite a big possibility of that. Will that ever come through? We'll discuss that in further detail on the other side of this break.
Came for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Feeling under